Plenty of stories that we've covered across the day for you and across the country and in the world, but this, some of the top stories. Tonight,
mwajiri mfidhuli, mwajiri ambaye hana pendo lolote kwa walimu.
The country's students could have an extended holiday as teachers issue strike notice. And this is why.
The Teacher Service Commission has continued to trample on their labor rights and professional freedom, unabated by denying them the right to promotions.
Also tonight, the search for answers as to why police opened fire on civilians in Trans Nzoia.
Shirika la IPOA watapeleka huko katika ballistics units, watapima na watajua ni bunduki gani ambayo ilitoa hiyo risasi.
And grieving families come to grips with their loss. Plus, a group of police officers fire the first round against their employer. The fight in court is about unfair treatment and discrimination in promotions. And on 2018 Rewind, we look back at the political intrigues that shaped the year 2018.
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari.
To our viewers across the country, welcome to this news bulletin, and you can also watch us live online, ntv.co.ke/live, and also our social media networks, that is YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, that is NTV Kenya, that's the handle. You can watch us live from this very moment. Our sign language presenter tonight is David Agondoa. Post-mortem results for victims of the Kolongolo violence have shown that all 5 of them were killed by bullets during the police shootout. The Independent Police Oversight Authority officials today visited the scene of murder at the Kolongolo Trading Center where the shooting took place. Family members have reiterated the calls for justice and speedy investigations into the matter.
Kolongolo area in Trans Nzoia is still engulfed in gloom after 5 people were killed and several others injured in a police shootout last week. A few days after the incident, pieces of the case puzzle have started falling into place after post-mortem conducted at the Kitale Referral Hospital confirmed the 5 succumbed to gunshot injuries.
Mimi nimeona venye wameifanya na ripoti yenye tumeandikiwa nimeona iko sawa. Kwa vile na nimefuatilia nikaona venye walimpiga risasi ya kwa mkono ndio ikaingia paka kwa tumbo. Hiyo risasi ndio ilifanya ikakatakata matumbo zingine na ikaenda ikakwama kwa abdomen na ikafanya mambo ya bleeding kakuwa nyingi, na hiyo bleeding ndio ilifanya huyu mzee Wandera kuaga dunia.
Other than the family members, officials from the Independent Police Oversight Authority and the Independent Medical Legal Unit oversaw the post-mortem exercise. According to the pathologist, most of the victims had entry and exit wounds, and they managed to recover 1 bullet in the rectum of one of the bodies. The bullet was handed over to the Police Oversight Authority to aid in the investigations.
Kwa haki, kwa tukiwa na IPOA haki tutapata, lakini tungekuwa na CID siwesiona.
Family members of the deceased have called for thorough investigations to be done on the matter to ensure that the families get justice.
Shirika la IPOA watapeleka huko katika ballistics units, watapima na watajua ni bunduki gani ambayo ilitoa hiyo risasi. Ile ripoti kamili tumeandika na tutaenda kuitetea kotini ndo hizi familia zipate haki.
The IPOA investigation team today visited the scene of shooting as part of the investigations. 1 police officer was arrested in connection with the shooting that killed 5 people and left 15 people injured at Kolongolo Trading Center. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
The Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Wilson Sossion, has called for a teachers' strike that is set to start on the 2nd of January next year. The union leaders say their withdrawal of labor from all public primary schools is not triggered by a dispute over salaries, but working conditions such as delocalization of teachers and promotions. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga with the details.
Learners from public primary schools are set to have an extended holiday as the Kenya National Union of Teachers leadership has called for industrial action at the beginning of next year. when schools should be resuming for first term.
Solidarity forever.
But the withdrawal of labor from schools comes with a twist this time round. It is not about salary increment as the strikes are accustomed to, but it is about working conditions. And their enemy number one is the Teachers Service Commission, their employer.
Mwajiri mfidhuli, mwajiri ambaye hana pendo lolote kwa walimu. Tumekuwa wapole kwa muda mrefu. Mwajiri huyu amekuwa mwajiri mtundu. Na kama mwajiri ameamua kila siku kutupatia kichwa kutuuma, tutaka leo tumwambie nasi leo tutahakikisha naye tumbo lake halitakuwa na raha, litamuuma.
TSC is wallowing in deep confusion and mismanagement and mishandling of teachers of the Republic of Kenya.
Emphasis was placed on delocalization of teachers, which the leadership says has broken many families.
The employer, the Teachers Service Commission, has continued to trample on their labor rights and professional freedom, unabated by denying them the right to promotions. We have authoritatively established that the just announced 3,094 transfers have not been approved by the appointment board that sits once a year in the month of December, the Teacher Service Commission.
Hata jambo ambalo rais amezungumza juu yake, akasema tume hii tafadhali wacha kuhamisha walimu kiolela. Mwajiri ameamua kuwa mtundu.
Other issues that the teachers are contesting are teacher performance appraisal and development, contracting without proper negotiations, teacher professional development policies without stakeholder participation, which the unions say are aimed at transferring cost of training to teachers.
So, in our exercise books, Yes.
This is the first the union has called for industrial action in the last 2 years, and they maintain that teachers shall not resume duties until all outstanding matters are addressed to their satisfaction by the Teachers Service Commission. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Well, as teachers withdraw their labor from all public primary schools, a labor dispute is brewing at the National Police Service Commission. A group of police officers have sued the Police Service Commission for unfair treatment and discrimination in promotions. The officers who have filed a case at the Employment Labor Relations Court accuse the Commission of bypassing them in promotions despite meeting all their requirements and now want compensation, which the Commission says is unjustified. NTV's Silas Apollo with the details.
In the suit filed at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi, the officers are accusing their employer, the National Police Service Commission, of awarding promotions selectively. Their grievances are based on grounds that a number of them have not earned promotions despite meeting the requirements, which in this case is the attainment of a bachelor's degree. They say that the Commission has failed to enforce part of the policy guiding the promotion of officers who've earned degrees before or even after joining the service. According to the policy, an officer upon acquiring a degree should be upgraded to Job Group J, but which they say has not been the case, since most of them still serve as police constables under Job Group F. A situation, they say, dates back to 2016 and which affects about 3,000 officers currently attached to the police service. They want the Commission found guilty of discrimination as well as unfairly and unprocedurally declining to update their pay. But the Commission, in a replying affidavit, says that some of the grounds stated by the complainants were no longer in force. The Commission further says that according to the current policies and the laws that govern the recruitment and promotion of officers, graduate constables are not recognized. The Commission said that the promotions are guided by the National Police Service Commission Promotion Regulations of 2015, which superseded the documents that the complainants relied upon. The suit follows previous protest by a number of police officers over a recent notice on pay rise, which was effected mid this year, but which the officers termed as discriminatory. They said it was not commensurate with the work they do. Policemen's salary and allowances vary depending on experience. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Deputy President William Ruto says the government is committed to ensuring that those behind former Kilifi Deputy Governor Kenneth Kamto's murder are brought to book. Ruto was speaking in Rabai during the requiem mass of the slain leader, who was later laid to rest at his farm. NTV's Kevin Mutai brings us the details.
You taught us how to fight and defend ourselves. You taught us how to be humble and appreciative.
It was a moment of grief and sorrow for the family, friends and relatives of the former Kilifi Deputy Governor Kenneth Kamto during his send-off in Rabai, Kilifi County. Hundreds gathered at Lugwe Primary School grounds to bid Kamto farewell. And here, leaders raised concerns over his murder, calling for immediate apprehension of those behind his execution.
Wale walimuua Kamto si majambazi wa kawaida. Ni mambo yalipangwa.
Tangu mheshimiwa Kamto alipofariki paka leo hakujashikwa hata chungu.
Na tunaomba polisi, kwa sababu hicho kitendo kilifanyika, to make sure yao machozi yao watoto wanalia hapa, hayo machozi watoto wamelia hapa, haitapotelea bure.
Damu ya marehemu iweze kuandama hawa waliomuua, wasipate amani katika maisha yao.
Kama Mwenyezi Mungu angehesabu makosa ya mwanadamu, hakuna mtu ambaye angesimama. Basi wewe ni nani ukondoe maisha ya mwenzako?
Kenneth Kamto was murdered in cold blood at his home in nearly a week ago by unknown assailants who broke into his house and shot him 3 times, killing him on the spot. And today, Deputy President William Ruto, who attended his burial, called on security agencies to expedite their investigations and arrest Kamto's killers.
I want to give you our commitment that we will do whatever it takes so that we can find the criminals behind this heinous act.
Concerns were also raised that the deceased had been sidelined by some of his political colleagues as he struggled with life after the end of his term as a deputy governor, some of whom are accused of shedding crocodile tears and claiming that Kamto was their close friend.
Nimekuja kujua wanasiasa hapa wakifika kikao kama hichi cha marehemu wana sifa kokokoko za marehemu. Lakini marehemu alivyokuwa haya alikuwa na shida, akipiga simu hawashiki.
Ikiwa kweli sifa ambazo tumempatia hivi leo zinatoka ndani ya mioyo yetu, basi vitendo vyetu vitaonekana wazi juu ya familia aliyoacha.
Kamto has left behind a widow and 5 children. Kevin Mutai, NTV, in Rabai, Kilifi County.
A section of ODM party members of parliament from the coast region have asked the party leadership to stop singling out and intimidating Msambweni legislator Suleiman Dori and his Malindi counterpart Aisha Jumwa for supporting Deputy President William Ruto. The legislators have declared political war with the party.
The 11 ODM members of parliament from the coast region have declared political war with the ODM party leadership, accusing the party of intimidating Malindi legislator Aisha Jumwa and Msambweni MP Suleiman Dori. The leaders have dared the ODM party leadership to go for every ODM member seen to be supporting Deputy President William Ruto instead of singling out the 2 MPs.
Zile t-shirt ziko kwa Mheshimiwa Dori sahi. T-shirt ziko kwa Mheshimiwa Aisha. Mngezi tateremka mpaka huku, lakini msitishike.
Hatuna deni na mtu. Na sisi tunasema kwamba Pwani ataongea na sauti moja. Na sauti ile tunataka kusema ni kwamba tumechoka kuhangaishwa viongozi wa Pwani kwa sababu tunatafuta maisha yetu sisi wenyewe. Nataka kuambia ODM, ateni na Dori na Aisha Juma. Aisha Juma ni mwanamke huyu, apigwa yake anzie. Wewe kama unataka vita, achana na Aisha Juma, njoo pambane na sisi wanaume.
This comes a few days after the ODM Executive Committee recommended expulsion from the party of Dori and Jumwa for gross misconduct. The two leaders have found themselves at loggerheads with ODM leadership for supporting Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 presidential bid. The leaders, who had accompanied the DP during the official handing over of title deeds for residents of Magarini and fundraising for churches in Gongoni, said their support for Ruto was unstoppable.
Viongozi wote wa Pwani tuko tayari kufanya kazi na wao, na mimi nataka mjue mambo ya siasa tulimalizana nayo mwaka uliopita. Sisi wote sasa tumeungana, ni timu moja, timu ya kusukuma mambo ya maendeleo.
The group of legislators have been accompanying the deputy president whenever he tours the coast region. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Staying with politics, Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula has urged opponents of constitutional amendments to avoid focusing on the cost implications and to embrace the impact the changes will have on governance in the country. Wetangula spoke during a party meeting at Simba House in Nairobi, where the party held its strategy meetings that included party grassroots elections.
In terms of the number of representation areas, you know, the Constitution itself says that we shall have 290 constituencies. As to how to juggle the boundaries of those constituencies, where some may disappear, others are recreated and so on, is the work of IBC. People who are talking about cost may have a point, but much more money is lost through corruption than these structures of governance.
Demolitions in Nyamavila Estate in Kayole continued on day 2 as residents and local leaders staged protests. Following the protest, Embakasi Central Member of Parliament Benjamin Gadhiru was arrested yesterday and was released today on a 200,000 shillings bond, but he could not leave the industrial area cells because there was a delay in processing his bond. His supporters demonstrated outside the Milimani Law Courts, claiming that officials at the courts refused to receive the payment of the bond after the judge left before signing the permit. The demolitions that began yesterday are being carried out by the officers from the county government of Nairobi. A number of buildings have been pulled down after court order due to a protracted land dispute. We're taking a short break, but I'll be back with more stories, including looking back at the year 2018 matters politics. Stay with us. Welcome back. As 2018 comes to a close, we are taking stock of it. It is a year that began in extraordinary fashion against the backdrop of a disputed election and with division in the country occasioned by politics. The political heat generated by the 2017 elections persisted into 2018, with the temperatures only coming down after the now much talked about handshake. But with the handshake, politics around the Uhuru Kenyatta succession began in earnest, playing out for the better part of 2018. NTV's Leila Mohammed takes a look at the year that was in Kenyan politics.
The events that took place here at the Uhuru Park on the 30th of January 2018 literally shook the nation and almost tore it apart into two pieces. But then again, the leader of opposition then, Raila Odinga, taking a bold step to swear himself in as the people's president. But those events literally turned out to be a different direction for the political sphere into this country, where the politics of 2022 have begun taking shape in 2018.
So help me God.
Despite fears of a government crackdown, ODM leader Raila Odinga drove into the packed historic Uhuru Park grounds minutes to noon and took his place at the podium to take an oath as president, astounding both friend and foe. This event took place having been postponed twice earlier, capturing the attention of many. Raila had kept a promise he made earlier.
We will not act in fear.
The unrest that had gripped parts of Western Kenya was replaced by cheers after the purported swearing in. The swearing in had set the stage for an uncertain political future for Kenya, with the government keen to demonstrate that it was fully in charge.
There is a committee which is Assumption of Office Committee.
Weeks later, key players at the January 30th event were taken into custody. Ruaraka MP TJ Kajwang, the advocate who presided over the swearing ceremony, was arrested and charged.
It's clear that it's not about the charges. It is clear that it's just about punishment.
This is my uncle's house. This is my uncle's house. The arrest of Nairobi gubernatorial candidate and fierce critic of the Jubilee government, Miguna, changed his fortunes, more so after he was declared persona non grata.
Where's my passport? I'm not going anywhere.
Miguna got temporary reprieve when Kenyan aviation authorities backed off. He was to board a Dubai-bound flight where he was expected to connect to his adopted country, Canada. Days to this event, Kenyans woke up to news of a raid at his home where the detectives took him into custody before trashing the house in search of evidence. While many expected that he would be arraigned before a magistrate in Milimani, Miguna appeared at the Ngong Law Courts in Kajiado, despite a High Court order compelling the police to present him before a High Court judge in Milimani.
A Kenyan citizen has a right to come in and leave.
Miguna was already at the JKIA at a time when his lawyers and Raila Odinga combed through the courts in search of him. Miguna later said he was drugged and put on a flight without personal effects of identification and was received in Canada by family and Kenyans living there. Raila's visit to the airport where he was being held did not help his case much. The bad blood that once existed between Miguna and the former Prime Minister boiled to the surface once more. Miguna felt Raila did not apply himself in getting him out of trouble with the authorities, and from then on he did not miss an opportunity to hit out at his former boss, castigating his leadership and calling him a traitor.
Learned friend Mr. Mbete is saying, Cliff Mbete is saying that he was undocumented.
Miguna was not the only one who felt unhappy after the swearing-in ceremony. The unity within the NASA fold began to shake when supporters faulted Raila's core principles for not showing up at Uhuru Park on January 30th.
And you don't unleash all your heavy weapons at the same target, at the same time.
the foursome putting on a brave face to show a united front to their supporters who had expressed their disappointment at the three core principles for failing to live up to their expectations. In January, sections of the media had reported differences among the leaders on whether to go ahead with the ceremony and what would be the legal repercussions of the same. Raila swearing in saw him gain much and lose much in equal measure.
Senator Moses Wetangula's service as a Senate minority leader ceases with immediate effect.
The first signs of cracks within the opposition began showing when members of the Senate removed Moses Wetangula, a NASA core principal and party leader of Ford Kenya, from his position as the minority leader of the Senate.
Mr. Speaker, I delivered a resounding vote to the leader of ODM.
Siaya Senator and key Raila ally James Orengo taking over responsibility at the Senate, much to the displeasure of Ford Kenya party members.
If anybody wants a divorce, it will be noisy, it will be messy, it will be unhelpful, and it will have casualties.
The politics in the NASA port threatened to boil and spill over. ODM leader Raila Odinga changed the game by making another political deal at Harambee House, dubbed the handshake. 10 years after first shaking hands with President Mwai Kibaki, Raila was once again changing the political sphere of the nation by shaking hands with President Kenyatta, a bitter rival just a few months before this March 9th date. Without their key allies at the event, Raila and President Uhuru's newfound brotherhood stirred a lot of speculation over a split on both sides of the divide.
We need to save our children from ourselves. My brother and myself have therefore come together today to say this descent stops here.
A new beginning for our country. A beginning in which we hope that we shall march together as Kenyans and that we can differ in terms of political alignment, but always remain steadfast and united in matters Kenya.
While the NASA fold struggled to fend off murmurs of an imminent split, the ruling party was also facing the same over a disconnect between the president and his number two man.
Hii kijana anaitwa Ruto, unajua kila weekend anatanga kila pahali. Atakuwa anapitia hizi machorochoro. Akiona kuna kitu inaenda kona mumwambie. Si namna hiyo?
This statement by the head of state seeming to be understood by many in the public. The deputy president making several trips to zones seen as predominantly opposition strongholds and making new political friends who were once foes.
Nataka niwaambie dau hili ambalo mimi nimelipanda naitwa sishuki, kwa sababu nshaona nahodha na akili zake na waloshikananga nao tuna akili zetu.
In the 9 times he has visited Kilifi County on a development agenda, the DP has enjoyed the support of Malindi MP Aisha Jumwa, a key ODM figure at the coast. This new friendship upset a group within the opposition party ODM, which in December officially began its plan to remove both Jumwa and her Msambweni counterpart Sulaiman Dori for openly flirting with the opposition.
Mkono wa Ruto uko wapi? Na wala musitikiswe, wala musiyumbishwe.
The trips have seen the deputy president crisscross various parts of the country from the coast to western Kenya with the development agenda which has won the hearts of some opposition leaders.
Maneno ya 2022 wachana naye. Before 2022 iko 2019, iko 2020, iko 2021, hiyo bado iko mbali. Nafasi ya sasa ni nafasi ya kufanya kazi ya wananchi.
The man of the hour seems to be Musalia Mudavadi, who insists that he is solidly in the opposition and does not intend to take on any political responsibilities that are to be drawn from the handshake.
And we will not be ready to go to a referendum until we have sorted out the IEBC. Because constitutionally, it's only the IEBC that has the mandate to conduct a referendum in this.
While Raila is taking on a continental job which the president has attributed to the handshake, former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka has offered the president his services if needed.
I think nitakuwa mtu wa mkono wa Uhuru kuanzia sasa.
Political alignments and realignments were a key figure of the political sphere in 2018, with the politics of 2022 playing a big role in how the year was shaped politically. But many Kenyans now insist that walking into 2019, they want more work from the political class than politicking. Leila Mohammed, NTV, Nairobi.
From that recap by Leila Mohammed, giving us flashbacks of what an interesting year has been in the world of politics. There are more stories to be coming in our subsequent bulletins, so don't miss anything. I'll be here with more stories. NTV Tonight takes another break. Time now for business. Ever since Kenya introduced interest rate caps in 2016, commercial banks have increasingly focused on lending to the government at the expense of small borrowers who are perceived to be riskier to lend to. But with developments in the macroeconomic environment, this is bound to be a bit more challenging in 2019. Julian Samboko has the details.
In 2015, government securities accounted for 19% of all interest earned by commercial banks. By 2017, this proportion had grown to 28% as banks shifted to government lending to cushion the effects of rate caps. With the government shunning expensive borrowing and government securities offering lower yields, banks are set to walk a tightrope.
If you are not able to take the risks that are happening on the non-bank private sector, because we are seeing NPLs increasing and you're seeing the yield curve softening, it simply means that banks will have to be to live with more liquidity. And that liquidity simply means they are trading off liquidity for profitability.
If this trend prevails, it is expected that banks' capacity for profitability will be subdued in 2019.
Most likely, the levels of profitability or the returns will suddenly be lower under the circumstances. And that may actually manifest themselves in what their financials look like going forward.
Looking ahead, pressure on how to increase non-interest income by commercial banks will be the key focus in 2019. Julian Samboko, NTV.
The Employment and Labour Relations Court has temporarily suspended the 1.5% housing levy that was to be deducted from workers' monthly pay to create a new low-cost housing fund. Justice Helen Wasilu has suspended the levy following an application filed by KOTU, which is opposed to the levy on grounds that no public participation has taken place and that transparency in its implementation is not really guaranteed. The levy, which is contained in the Finance Act 2018, was set to take effect on January 1st, 2019, but will now remain suspended until KOTU's case is determined. Coast Region governors have opposed the proposed formula for sharing of revenue among the 47 counties, which will be influenced less by level of poverty and population of a devolved unit. Governors Hassan Joho of Mombasa and Kilifi's Amason Kingi said the proposals, which are currently at the public participation stage, are unfair to the 6 coastal counties and will see them lose more than 5 billion shillings cumulatively. The Commission on Revenue Allocation says the formula, which will largely use service delivery as a measure to determine allocations, will be used to share the 335 billion shillings earmarked for the 47 counties in the 2019-2020 financial year.
Kusema kweli, ile formula ama ule utaratibu ambao wameweka utaumiza sana kaunti za pwani hususan. Kati ya hizi kaunti 6 za pwani tutapoteza zaidi ya bilioni 5 kati yetu.
We need to rethink kwa nini tulitaka ugatuzi na kwa nini sasa hivi for a while now narrative has started to shift. Sisi tukikatiwa 1.19 billion, it's almost 2 billion shillings for the next 4 years, that adds up to 8 billion to 4.8 billion. 4.8 billion ingebadilisha maisha ya watu wa Mombasa kwa kiasi kikubwa sana.
Wheat farmers from the North Rift region have asked President Uhuru Kenyatta to intervene and help them secure markets and better prices for their produce. The farmers say that they cannot access the market directly and only sell their produce through middlemen and millers who offer a price of between 1,800 shillings to 2,500 shillings for each 90 kilograms bag of wheat. Samitu Yot, one of the farmers, said they can only operate profitably if they can sell their wheat at 4,000 shillings per bag. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers has dismissed reports that local factories are facing a shortage of the material used to make the new police uniforms. In a statement sent to newsrooms, the association said the claims are false and inaccurate, insisting that manufacturers are awaiting for the tender to produce the uniforms to be floated. The association insists that the sensitive nature in producing materials for disciplined forces has barred manufacturers from stocking them, as they do not have authorization in a formal tender. We're taking another break. NTV Tonight will be right back. Let's look at more stories. The government has today launched the Greening Kenya campaign at Rirujike Prison Farm in Kiambu County with the aim of developing 50 million tree seedlings. The campaign is set to contribute towards creating a greener Kenya in support of attaining 10% tree cover in the country by 2022 and the attainment of the Big Four agenda. The project is conceptualized from the collaboration between the National Youth Service and the Kenya Prison Services. The Cabinet Secretary has given a moratorium on logging of trees and transportation of charcoal. And he has also urged the chiefs to promote the project by curbing the logging process.
We will work together with the police command to enforce the request that you have made on movement of charcoal and on logging across the country, because we have the structures, as you say, all the way to the grassroots to ensure that the government policy is implemented as expected.
Let's take another break. I'll be here with all the sporting action. To sports news, Kenya could find itself in the market for a new national football team head coach, and in familiar fashion, the government has paid the backlog of 2 months' salary for Harambee Stars coach Sebastian Minye, but is yet to fulfill its end of the bargain on the total arrears due. Ida Waringa takes a walk down memory lane and discovers that it is a case of the same script but a different cast in as far as Shodi Harambee Stars management is concerned.
Well done.
Enough is enough. This was the position taken by national football team head coach Sebastian Minye after going for 3 months without his salary being paid. Minye's pay or quit notice issued to the Football Kenya Federation was to expire Tuesday, and early Wednesday morning the government and FKF got their act together, clearing the arrears for September and October, with November and December now pending. All this despite the fact that Minye has secured Kenya qualification to the African Cup of Nations for the first time in 15 years. The last coach to achieve this feat was Jacob Ghost Mulee, whose verdict on how Harambee Stars is managed is damning.
Harambee Stars is jinxed. For Minye is a foreigner. You bring in a foreigner here and then he goes through that. It's not the best of things. And he's not the only coach anyway. We have other coaches who are still owed money by the federation. So it's very unfortunate.
Almost every Harambee Stars coach has suffered from non-payment or delayed payment of salaries. In June 2001, the late Reinhard Fabish issued a similar notice to the then FKF regime after going 4 months without salary. Ex-national tactician Mohamed Kerry alleges that FKF owes him 5 million in unpaid arrears. Belgian Adel Amrouche, Englishman Bobby Williamson, as well as Frenchman Henry Michael also have tales to tell about money during their stints in Kenya's coaching job.
Milioni 5 ni kitu kidogo, lakini kwa sisi ambao tulitetea nchi na wakati ule ilikuwa allowance ni shilingi 75 kwa mchezaji na kochi 150. Hiyo ni accumulation ya muda mrefu sana ambao family zetu zilisafa.
When we qualified last, after the last game against Cape Verde, if you remember, if you watch that clip, I said I'm not the right man to take Harambee Stars Cup of Nations. Why? I'd stayed 8 months without being paid my salary.
With Minye reportedly paid a monthly salary of 1.5 million shillings plus other allowances and benefits, it begs the question of whether FKF bears a load more than it can carry by seemingly preferring foreign coaches to local ones.
Between Jacob Ghost Mulee's situation 14 years ago and current national team head coach Sebastian Minye's situation now, it seems that it's just a different day but still the same problem. Here's to hoping that the Harambee Stars won't have to adapt to a new coach's philosophy with just months to the continental tournament. For NTV, I'm Ida Waringa.
Staying with football, goalkeeper Issa Emuria was the hero when St. Anthony Kitale won the first ever Copa Coca-Cola Africa Cup. The goalkeeper, who saved 2 penalties in the final, hails from Turkana County and, having shown at the Under-16 tournament, is now looking to represent the national football teams in Under-17 and Under-23 levels.
A heroic return for Issa Emuria, who was crowned the best goalkeeper in the first ever Copa Coca-Cola Under-16 Africa Football Tournament. Emuria was a toast of champions St. Anthony's Kitale, saving 2 penalties against Nigeria in the final played at the Afraha Stadium in Nakuru.
Najiamini kwamba penalti zote ningezichukua. Alafu kwa sasa najihisi kwenye furaha tele.
Emuria, who plays for Lodwar Islamic FC, was received with jubilation at the Islamic Center by fellow teammates and his coach.
Sisi kama wakazi wa Turkana tumefurahi sana.
You are grateful. You are a great man. And we are very grateful and we really appreciate you. So on behalf of the county government, I just want to say we shall support you.
With Football Kenya Federation looking to grow talent from the grassroots and with Kenya eyeing Under-23 Olympic qualification, Emuria's coach has a plea.
Hii talent pia ambayo isibaki tu ikiwa ni hapo peke yake hivyo. Wale pia ma selection wanafanya wazidishe pia Under-17 Harambee Stars, Under-19 ambayo inaenda Olympic. Waangalie pia.
Having shown for Kenya at a continental footballing event, Emuria has brought joy to his Turkana county.
Telkom Kenya are through to the final of the Africa Hockey Club Championships after registering their 4th win of the tournament in Day 4 action at the Abuja National Stadium. Telkom now leads the standings with 12 points, with Kenya's other representatives, USIU Spartans, yet to pick a win in the tournament after losing 3-1 to Ghana Police in their 4th match of the round-robin format. Brian Otwal reports from Abuja, Nigeria.
9-time champions Telkom Kenya will await their opponents in the final of the Africa Hockey Club Championship after beating Nigeria's Kada Queens by a solitary goal to confirm their spot at this year's final. Telkom had to fight back Kada's resistance through the first 3 quarters, with the umpire denying them the lead after Jacqueline Mwangi had scored in the last minute of the 3rd quarter from a penalty corner. After the interval, Telkom had a short corner, Audrey Omaido netting her 4th goal of the tournament to ensure coach Joseph Penda's Chargers remain top on 12 points.
Already no team can gather the 12 points already in the finals. There's just a matter of strategizing how we are going to play the finals.
We have gotten 3 points. That was our goal. Maximum points in every game so that we are safe for the finals.
Telkom will next take on Ghana Revenue Authority in their last match of the round-robin format. And the defending champions GRA are optimistic of making it to the final, where they will take on already qualified Telkom. This will be a repeat of last year's final held in Ghana.
The game matters more to GRA because it's a preliminaries, and to us, we just have to play like normal. We are not going to take anything for granted, and I know they're coming to fight because it's a matter of life and death for them.
We need to prove a point to them, and we have to win it. As players, we are hungry for this game. More so in the whole tournament, this is the game that we want.
In the other match of the day, defending champions Ghana Revenue Authority thrashed Delta Queens 7-0 to remain second on 8 points. Reporting for NTV Sport, I'm Brian Otwal in Abuja, Nigeria.
Muthaiga Golf Club's Greg Snow completed a 4 rounds total of 5 under par 283 to emerge the winner of the 4th leg of the Safari Tour Golf Series at the Par 72 Thicker Greens Golf Resort course. Snow, who posted 72, 71 and 70 in the first 3 rounds, produced another 70 in the 4th and final round to beat the long-hitting Dismas Indiza by 4 shots. This victory, his 3rd in the series, earned him 150,000 shillings plus 22 points towards the Safari Tour Order of the Merit, which makes him now lead with a total of 77.5 points. 3 golfers, CJ Wangai, Njuguna Ngugi and Simon Gige, tied for 3rd place. The Safari Tour is a 6-leg series that seeks to give professional Kenyan golfers a chance to sharpen their skills ahead of the 2019 Kenya Open, which will be a PGA Tour event. New York City Marathon champion Mary Keitani is the Sports Journalists Association of Kenya S-Jack and Star Times Sports Personality of the Month for November. The 36-year-old won her 4th New York City Marathon in November, registering the 2nd fastest women's time in the event's history. She beat experienced rally driver Carl Flash Tundo, who registered his 6th win of the season with victory at the Guru Nanak Rally, and subsequently won his 4th Kenya National Rally Championship title, and tennis ace Angela Okutoi, who finished 2nd at the Africa Cup of Nations in Botswana. Keitani walked away with a trophy, a 43-inch Star Times digital television set, and 100,000 shillings.
From the bottom of my heart, I'm saying that it's really something that I was not expecting this morning, but I want to say it's amazing, and I'm happy, and I appreciate all of you.
Former Manchester United striker Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will return to Old Trafford as caretaker manager until the end of the English Premier League season. Solskjaer will take charge of the first team with immediate effect and will remain in place while the club conducts a thorough recruitment process for a new full-time manager. He will be joined by Mike Phelan as first-team coach, working alongside Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna. United sacked manager Jose Mourinho on Tuesday after the 6th-placed side made their worst start to a season for 28 years. Solskjaer's first assignment will be against Cardiff on Saturday. That does it for sports, and that's it for this news bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. More programming coming up. Tomorrow, Smriti Vridiati will be here in studio to give you the very latest in what's happening in the country and across the world. Have a pleasant viewing. Good night. My name is Dennis Okari. Our sign language presenter tonight was David Agondoa.